This is going to be game number 1 of Korea's Strongest Amateur Tournament. This is the final match, the final of the tournament, and this is going to be starring KR Bob in the blue Vanguard and his opponent ARMA in the red Celestial.
KR Bob starting off with his characteristically cheeky dog, preventing the early array from going down. But not that it matters. ARMA doesn't have nearly enough Luminite to be doing that. I think it's because he's still getting the Morph Core out of his arc ship.
Yeah, he had already taken this one. He happened to be at the wrong
There it
array.
is. Gotcha,
So,
gotcha.
part of that mind games. Am I blocking at the right spot?
Yeah, I like that.
And the arc ship's hiding here on the high ground so the dog can't see it. Now, if he uses his little special owl ability or whatever it is, there's the Morph Core coming out.
Now it gets spotted. Yeah, it gets spotted, but it's so early that the dog is going to take so much damage before there's even enough Luminite to take it. You know what? If that was a counter mind game where like ARMA knows that he's going to get body blocked, so he has to like he's already mapped out how long the Morph Core has to be there to do damage to the dog, so he hits 350 Luminite just as the dog has to leave. That would be 4D chess, you know? That would be underwater, high orbit, upside down, 8-dimensional pachinko of like mapping out just like the way that the early game needs to go.
I think, though, that some of these builds that these players get are definitely thought out to that degree, right? I mean, that's part of the reason why pro players will get into custom matches and place the same build over and over again so that they can really figure out those timings, really know, hey, is this response viable? Things like that. So who knows? It's very possible that ARMA may have done exactly what you said, although poor Scout going down to those slimes. Don't like to see that.
Yeah, that's a little rough. I wonder. Yeah, another Morph Core comes out.
Morph Core gonna get another kill on a Scout.
Yep, and it's also going to prevent. So I think KR Bob did manage to get the last hit on that last slime, but there's no chance of him getting that health camp, as unfortunate as that is, because if he was able to get the camp, he'd be able to hold it just by keeping the dogs there, and I think that the health camp would be able to heal them faster, and the Morph Cores would be able to kill them. Yeah, but no, with the Morph Core flying there contesting, he would just never be able to get it.
Exactly, and wisely he turns off. He tries to get this collection array, but he runs away from it. I think maybe the reason where it was he saw it almost finishing, and Sarvin's watch was gonna likely be triggered. Although maybe why wouldn't you stick around and wait for him to use it? I don't know. Maybe it was something else. Maybe he's just trying to get his healing cap.
I think it would have been better to force out the Sovereign's Watch, actually, just to keep ARMA on lower power, and to waste another Sov Watch charge might have been worth it. And there's no guarantee that the Sov Watch would have targeted down the low health dog first. So even just to proc it and then run away,
right?
I think might have been good. But
he could have even just
got other things to do.
Could have just ran away with the weak dog and left the other full health ones.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I would say that's too much micro for me, but I do not think it's too much micro for Bob. He's got that kind of control.
He does. I'm curious. Speaking of micro gods in the Stormgate scene, we haven't heard or seen much out of Parting, and I wonder what he would do as if he was like a Vanguard main, or if he was forced to play as Vanguard or put up with these Sovwatch shenanigans, if he would try to like out micro some of these things. But it looks like the people that have really been in the lab and at least very open about their experiments have been, the KR Bobs, the theories, the albinos of Stormgate, and it's nice to see that the meta's still evolving, even with Infernal players that'll put their with their opening 2 gaunts, they'll put them on the outside edges of the health camp before initiating with the Hexen. We're still seeing the meta evolve a ton, even though this game has been out for a couple months already. We're still mining our way to the very bottom of what the meta looks like for each of the factions, honestly.
I agree. And some of those changes, like you mentioned, with moving your gaunts into the right location, these are, um, this wasn't a response to balance change. That's just how the meta is evolving thanks to thousands of games being played. And wow, there's been a lot of interesting harass here from KR Bob, though. He's keeps bringing these hedgehogs in and sieging them up underneath the prisms and the arc ship. I think it's really been messing with Ethereum income for ARMA to start out this game.
Absolutely, and he was able to take out a single prism there and kind of force a response out of Armor to come forward with his Argents, which do not pair well against hedgehogs, but I mean, they had to do something, right?
Yes.
And being able to pick off that one Kree is nice, and baiting out a Sovwatch is even better.
Yeah.
And then once he knows it's activated, it's just time to leave. Like, yeah. Actually, he could even go for that health camp right now, and I think he could get it. And
He
then,
could this time, right?
He would be in a really strong position.
Oh, another Sovereign's Watch going down here, and we see, yeah, here, this array is not going to last. We get some sieged up hedgehogs, and boom, it goes down.
Yeah, that was really fast. It's very, very satisfying seeing or like getting a kill on a building that has just been Sovereign's Watch, where it's like, yes, that's, it's a victory on multiple levels.
Big explosion from the Kree, and he gets a lot of bobs there. It's not usually the explosions you see them getting those bobs, but yeah, one of them exploded and took out a couple bobs.
Yeah, 3 Kree in the worker line is a disaster. I'm really hoping these it's really good on him for being able to get so many into the worker line, but not many of them.
Another one explodes, but yeah. Unfortunately, not getting as many kills thereafter. I think could have had a little bit better micro from Arma to keep those Kree on the bobs instead of they kept engaging the dogs and such. But some good initial damage there, I think. And the Bob's still on one base.
Yeah, Bob is still on one base, and we're seeing the array count go further and further up for Arma. I wonder if the idea is to counter that by forcing Arma to keep rebuilding. Oh, getting in melee range with all these units is never a good idea.
Wow, wow, nice around. Is the
body
nice
block going to
flank.
happen? Yeah, this is going to be absolute destruction here for KR Bob. Yeah, microing his Argents to block off the retreat.
Yeah.
While the Kree are just saying, like, yep, we're stuck in the Thunderdome, and it's just a matter of time.
Exactly.
It's a matter of when, not a matter of if these hedgehogs all go down.
Yeah. 4 hedgehogs enter, no hedgehogs leave. And that's a GG from Bob. All right, here we are into game number 2. This one's going to be starring, once again, Arma in the blue Celestial. And his opponent, KR Bob in the red Vanguard. And Bob's dog not getting the right scout out this time, going in the wrong direction. Of course, this time he's cross spawn, and that's not usually going to be your first scouting direction. It's 2 racks opening from Bob. I think someone in the chat mentioned that this is a preferred build for Bob to go 2 racks opening with some dogs. So we'll see if he keeps that up through this series.
Yeah, I think because because the spawn locations matter so much on this map, I think there's a lot less reliance on build order unless you know where your opponent's at. These Korean players have been a little bit more conscious, I would say, about not taking a creep camp. Like, they still want to get the economic rewards, but they don't want to tip the hand as to where they've spawned. So they'll kill off the creeps, get the money, and then they won't take the camp, even though they're not getting the global passive, just to make sure that their opponent doesn't know where they're at until a unit actually comes by to see where they are. I think it was Oriel was telling me that by knowing which camp is taken by a certain time, he'll know, I don't know if it was a build order necessarily or like a he'll know a build order, like a specific build order based on the timing of when a camp was taken. So making sure to not give that information to your opponent is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And another interesting thing about that, though, is it's starting to evolve into mind games, right? So that now that people know that, oh, that if you take that camp at 2 minutes, that must mean this about you. Well, okay, I can delay that, or I can take a different camp, or I can, as you said, maybe take the camp but not actually capture the camp. And we've already seen that with some meta. Right at the moment, we see Bob has moved across the map and is taking the far camp, right? And that's you might still understand the timing as a result of that, but then you also have to know, is that his camp, or has he moved across the map and taken a different camp?
Yeah, the metagames get further. You go further and further down the rabbit hole of mind games. When you're like, okay, now is my opponent playing mind games with me, or is he genuinely like macroing up, and that's the first camp he's taken? And then like, pretty soon you look like Charlie Day in that meme where he's like at the cork board with all the strings connecting all the pictures and stuff, trying to figure
Exactly.
out what your opponent's doing.
Does he
But
know that
now
I
the
know that you know that he
yeah,
knows? Exactly.
exactly. Um, oh, and we're seeing a vector out as well. The
Oh,
vector's us. Oh, but he teleports out.
yeah.
Nicely done.
Good micro from both
The
of them to get this round, and then the delta jump. Oh no, another delta jump, is he?
nope, he doesn't.
Vector
It's not a
goes
cooldown,
down.
and he doesn't have the recall
Yes, recall was not yet,
upgraded yet.
and I did
What's it
not
called?
know it had a cooldown. I mean, that makes sense. But
Quantum. It's like quantum something. I don't remember.
the
I don't know.
recall?
More science
I
words.
think it's just called recall, but it might be called quantum recall. Let's go take a look. There's our essential matrix. There it is.
There it
It's
is.
just old,
Oh, it's just recall. Never
just
mind.
recall. Everything has a fancy name in this game, so I don't blame you for thinking that.
Thank you.
Everything has to be called something special. It's not just
And
armor
it makes me
upgrade.
sound smart when I say things like quantum. So
It's the quantum recall. We'll call it
yeah.
quantum recall from now on. Because it is the delta jump, which I kind of like that because, delta is a triangle in the Greek alphabet, and they're triangles, so.
Yeah. The what wasn't that the who was it that was saying that Monk was trying to explain that vectors are all just math jokes? Like even their weapon, like if you click on the vector and you hover
Hmm.
over its weapon, the tooltip, the name for their weapon is a math joke as well.
Gradient volley. Cartesian cannon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. As a math teacher, I can say, yeah. Those are great.
Does
I
it
love them.
is the vector now your new favorite unit because of those the dad jokes that we see in there?
It has my favorite branding. How about that?
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. I think it needs a little work in terms of a unit. I think it might be a little overtuned in this matchup. I think some Vanguard players think that. I'm not a Vanguard player, so I haven't experienced that firsthand. But here we see some dogs trying to deal with these vectors, but the vectors are microing very well. And that looked like the recall. Yeah, the recall ability is now finished, but these vectors are going to have to retreat. A single Argent here, yeah, he gets picked off. And dogs and hogs so far, but there's just a lot of dogs and hogs, and it might just be a matter of having enough units to chase those vectors back.
Yeah, I there was a suggestion in the Discord saying that you can keep the tool set with the vectors, let them jump, let them recall, but it's the heal that seems like it's a little bit too strong. But if you want to keep the heal, that's fine. Just make sure that if they do a recall, that it's a heal over time, not an instant an erasure of all the damage that was done to them. At
I
least
really
like
like that,
that would
actually.
open up a little bit of counterplay. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like
Ooh,
that.
fighting under Stopwatch though is way too scary. I don't think
Ooh,
these dogs are going to last too long, and the hedgehogs don't do the bonus damage to vectors, so that combined with their instantaneous recall, I think these the vectors are going to have this fight in the bag.
yeah, so far we're seeing that with some really good micro on that recall to keep them alive and, as you said, healed up. And even though we saw them taking a lot of damage initially, they all healed up, cleared out all those dogs, and now they're chasing these hogs home. And it's mobile unit versus mobile unit, micro versus micro here.
Yeah, the I think the pounce potential from the
Yeah,
vectors is just way too high though. I'll be
yeah.
surprised if Carabob's hedgehogs make it all the way home. Oh
Well,
well, then color me surprised. They
yeah.
actually do get home.
And
But
what's the speed differential on there? Do we have a speed indicator here? Movement speed 6.75, and the vector 5
5.
plus 0. I think that's not accurate because after they get the recall, don't they? They get a speed boost from the recall upgrade, if I understand correctly. And so I think that tooltip might be
Uh, oh
inaccurate.
no, and when you hover over the recall upgrade, it doesn't give you the numbers, does it?
30% increased movement speed.
Mm.
And okay,
Yeah, it might
well,
not. It might just
yeah,
not be showing up on the
yeah,
tooltip.
yeah. Not all the tooltips are fully accurate. They're certainly a great way for us to get a little information as casters, right? But I am a little
Oh my god, it's
sensitive.
the pencil sharpener. Algorithmor, what are they gonna do?
They're going to sharpen their pencils.
That's right.
Hope your pencils are ready to be sharpened. Hey, he has to dodge his own
Yeah.
blasts.
I like
That's
that.
rough. Jumping right on top of the repair turret. That, ooh, delta or recalling back.
Yeah, now that's going to be on cooldown for a little bit. I think KR Bob needs to stay a little bit closer. Oh no, he does have to fight that saber.
Yeah, he took out the saber, which is a
Oh,
good kill. If he can do the same thing to the pencil sharpener now, and he does, and he has
this
not
is
as much to
fantastic
worry.
micro.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
right.
god, is KR Bob actually parting?
He
Are they?
might be.
No, they're not the same person.
No, we should set him up with a match.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Although parting would have already just he's to have Argent in the base, and
Yeah,
I don't
actually,
know
yeah.
if
Watching, parting Blink micro, like his favorite race is whatever blinks. So I think if he watching him get into vector memes would be
yeah.
pretty scary. And I hope we get to see it before the next balance patch comes out. Um, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see.
our current the patch tomorrow is, I'll call it light on balance. It's not. It has some bug fixes and a few mechanics fixes that can be seen as balance changes, but it doesn't really have dedicated balance. So I wonder if we are going to see some balance changes coming up. Maybe in the first thing in the new year, possibly.
That would be my guess. And also, there was like one single little bullet point that said there was a lot of performance improvements, which I think is huge. I would much rather, um, like even if the balance is good, I think lower on the stack or higher on the stack of priorities, but it's lower in the stack of like foundational things that you need. You need the game to run well before you can start making these tweaks. So just making sure that it even runs correctly to begin with is very important. I'm very glad that Frost Giant's prioritizing that instead of like, hey, let's make the numbers perfect, even though not as many people are even going to be able to like flip the on switch to turn the game on. You know?
Right. Yeah, I agree because balance is also an art and it takes like years to get a truly balanced game. But with that said, also I feel like this last patch after they did the hotfix at least has been one of the more balanced patches, at least for the matchups that I play. And if you have a relatively balanced game, spending time on performance, AI, pathing, other things that are gonna help the game overall is a good use of resources, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And there's
We did see a
I know that
collection
there's
array go
just so
down
much
there.
work. Yeah, there's so much work to be done, and I really appreciate. I know Frost Giant isn't the, staffed with triple digit or even four digit employees the way that Blizzard was, and they've certainly got a lot of work cut out for them. But all the improvements that we've seen so far are just absolutely phenomenal. From like even the ground. Remember when the ground was just like blurry greens and browns, and there
Yeah,
was no paths, there were no
yeah.
rocks, there were no like just seeing how far Stormgate has come is gives me a lot of hope for how much further it can go. And yeah, anyway, back to this
Everything
game
I
and not
agree
the
with
entire
you.
game.
Shout out grass patch and shout out the upcoming tree patch, man. Tree patch tomorrow.
Yep. Shout
So
out Butterfly Doodad that hovers over the clover fields there.
yeah, exactly. Shout out all of our cool little cosmetics that we got, like the Rizzy Kitty and stuff.
Yeah. I am an absolute dork for like visual upgrades that aren't documented anywhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
when the Hexen got his green underglow, when like how it reflects off of the puddles that you walk over, or how it will reflect off of other units, or how the Bobs get the underglow when they're carrying stuff. But hold on, we can admire other races later. Right now we've got the Jesus House, Archangel, Saber, Cabal, Vector
Yeah,
composition, which you read about in every beginner intro to build orders. Is just
right.
it's not quite a box art army, but
Once
we
you
do
get up
see.
to your 12th saber, it is time
Yeah.
to move out. Yeah, so we do have an interesting composition here, and actually it's largely hedgehogs out of Bob with a Vulcan Sentinel here.
Yeah,
And
I think hedgehogs actually counter most of this, just because there's so much heavy armor here, and a lot of it does bonus to heavy.
yeah, it's
Also,
true.
these hedgehogs need to get underneath that they need to get underneath that arc fortress. Oh, but all these sabers are going to block the path upwards.
Yeah.
Oh, so now the hedgehogs can't even get in close if they wanted to, and yeah, that leaves the arc fortress free to just nuke down everything in its path.
This is interesting. You did mention that the hedgehogs are going to do pretty well against the sabers, but we need to remember that sabers also melt like everything, and you need to get close enough to do it. So the sabers in large numbers like that can do pretty well. But again, wow, Archangel gets stasis drone, but he's not being focus fired by the hedgehogs.
I think it's because the hedgehogs can't damage the unit that's inside of the stasis drone without releasing it from the stasis.
Oh, good call. And check out those huge nanoswarm shields going down.
Yeah.
Protecting those units from projectiles and from ranged attacks.
Great bubble placement.
Oh,
No! Does Meteor Smash, but wait, so the Meteor Smash went off, but the anti-air hedgehog still managed to kill it? Am I understanding that right?
That's what it looked like to me, but remember, their projectiles, once they've launched in the air, they do not stop. They are going to eat you.
You're right.
I've seen that with Shadow Flyers before, too, actually. They land and they kill the Archangel. But as you predicted, those hedgehogs just kind of came in here and ripped through those sabers. We have the beam here, but mass repair is just really good.
Yeah, mass repair is really good, and seeing so many teams trying to,
There we go.
out-heal the Avada.
And here we are back in it. This is going to be game number 3. This is KR Bob in the blue Vanguard. And his opponent here, ARMA, in the red Celestial. And this time we are playing out on Boneyard. And again, we see ARMA. We saw this in an earlier game. Clearing out some trees. Looks like maybe for a power bank or something. At least that's what we've seen in the past. And this dog's being annoying again. But again, has to run away just as ARMA has enough resources to put it down. So...
Yeah, it really has been mapped out that much, hasn't it?
Or at least Bob, I mean, usually Bob knows the timing. You think he'd run away, but it's too late. I don't know. So
I think I think he was anticipating the timing happening a little bit earlier, but ARMA was building a morph core during that time, so he knew that he was going to be floating resources, so he might as well like get some build time out of it.
See, there you go. It's do you start the morph core or not?
Yeah.
Ah.
That is next level mind games, man. I love seeing that it's progressed to that level.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, and it's a Lancer coming across. Not another dog, which is what I kind of expected. This is an interesting choice, I think. These two units would be good to clear out some power banks, but against the collection array, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's a heavy structure, so it's not going to be taking any bonus damage from these two.
No, but it won't be able to out-heal them. It looks like it's taking almost a bar of damage with each swing from the... Wait,
from the
is
Lancer.
it getting surged right now? Is it getting surged for the heals? Yeah, it is.
I don't see a surge. I don't think.
Oh, no, maybe not.
But it does have a natural heal, right? So it's doing all right. Although it's already got down to 500 HP, so it will have to lift off at some point here. Or a Sarvin's Watch, possibly. Ooh, there's also a Lancer here at the natural. This kind of looks like almost an Infernal style build.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could Lancer Rush a Celestial player. That's cool. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
And I think all these units are so they're tanky enough that I think ARMA knows that the moment he throws down a Sovereign, it's gonna get you know, like it's not going to do anything. He's
Yeah.
going to chase away the units. They're going to wait 30 seconds, and then they're going to come back and kill. So
And keep doing
you
it.
might as
Yeah.
well conserve that energy.
You
Yeah.
either lift off or nothing at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now there's 2 Lancers here. Single one still in the main. And this collection array is now down to 200, which is a quarter of its health. With that said, though, ARMA is like, I'm going to build my base here on the island. And he's
That's
already
an
got
interesting
another
move.
one here.
Anything he builds out of that creation chamber is going to be stuck at the top of those cliffs. There's
Very
really
true.
no way to get... I know that because the second game I ever played in this game, I made that... Or no, the second game I played as Celestials ever, I made that mistake. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll just build their transport. And I started like looking through the tech tree.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll just build their transport, right, guys?
Guys?
Where's the transport?
Yeah. That might be a missing part, but I think that might also be intentional. We'll see if they get a transport when they get all of their units fleshed out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
so-
kind of needed, but...
Who was it that was saying that it would be kind of a cheeky thing to do to put some weavers up there, a bunch of weavers and a bunch of gaunts with a shroud stone, and you just keep them up there and abducting your opponent's army up into there, because there's like they can't walk up any ramps to go attack you. They'd have to either bring their own transport or try to like fire at you from the low ground.
Right, right. Well,
Funny island memes. Anyway,
let's see here. So this array is still... This one looks like it got chased away. Yeah, it's floating away. And this base is becoming a base. And like you said, those creation chambers for the moment are pretty much useless. As soon as one gets summoned to the low ground, and there we have one. Oh my, sorry Bob, but while you were in ARMA's base, ARMA has built a base in your base.
yeah, these since the we haven't seen anything that's like kind of like the warp prism drops, but I think this is the closest thing we'll get, is throwing down a creation chamber.
Yeah.
And if it's not scouted, well, that's going to be a whole flood of Argents that come out of there. But
Yeah.
you have to make sure that that's your prime structure for that to happen. And I think it's a missed opportunity to not make it a prime structure. Oh, and he's dipping down into the yellow power. That's kind of a bummer. And I think that
Right.
collection array went down in the upper right as well.
You're correct. That array did go down. That's the prism that's being chased away, and an arc ship. We got stuff all over the place. This array's gone and attached itself down here. So ARMA's still on like 3 base, I think, or 3 array.
No, I think he's everywhere you see vision around a Illuminite, I imagine. So I think he's on like 5.
Oh, here's
Yeah, he's
one,
got 1,
2.
2.
Now that's a dog.
That's a dog. I think he's got the triangle
3.
from those two. Yeah.
4. Did we count this one? I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's on 5 array, I think, but
Yeah.
that one's gonna go down here pretty soon.
Right. But now he's got his Argents in the base, and he's trying to engage into this. That is looking like a pretty good defensive force to start out here. Oh, we see a Guardian Nexus almost finished. And yeah, a single Hedgehog trying to take out this array. But here go 3 Argents back to be like, we're gonna defend. Who wins?
Do
3
Hedgehogs
Argents?
kill 3 Argents? I think
Yeah,
they do.
I think so too. Especially now
There
that...
we go. Now
yeah,
he's figuring. Yeah, now the veteran sees online. He's like, hey, scram.
Yeah.
All right, Sovwatch popped. Power bank goes down.
So,
Also, Arma fighting from a really strong position with this this health camp in the
Yeah,
mix. He
good
knows he
call.
won't be able to he won't get pushed off this position anytime soon. Just in case KR Bob gets any thoughts of dislodging him, he can always just put his army back in that health camp. But now he's starting to realize the drawbacks of not having many power banks here. Is he's got a whole bunch of Argents, but only 3 power banks from with which to recharge.
right.
I don't know if I said that correctly, but
Ooh, and an Atlas. This could be
Yeah.
good for Bob. Ooh, huge first shot.
Yeah,
Oh my
beautiful
goodness.
hit.
And now it's launching down on the strike nodes.
Yeah.
This could spell the end for Arma. At least for the end of this
think it's
push.
the end. Yeah, the end of this position for sure. Losing that first power bank won't be too terribly bad. Yeah, he's still fine on power for a little while.
No, there. Look at that snugly placed Atlas
Oof.
there.
Nice.
And now he's being able to rain down on the healing camp.
I just noticed something. The charging up, the Atlas charging up, the blue glow will reflect off of the trees. That's also really cool. And it reflects off the ground.
Yes, very nice. I can't wait until we get even more art updates with our new art director.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna
Well,
make
we'll
things even more
see.
cute.
He's getting funny ideas about the meat farm. We'll see if I like this guy or not. Depends on what he does to the fell hogs.
I have not nitpicked everything that everyone else is. I know there's some rumor that maybe meat farms will go away, but
Yeah.
I think.
Better just stay
Oh,
around too.
and that's already going to be GG. So actually, that was a swift turnaround from Arma. We thought he was a little bit weak there, but pushing out, and I think the Kree is what really spelt the end of that game. And here we are in game number 4. This is going to be KR Bob in the blue Vanguard. And his opponent, Arma, in the red Celestial. And here we are. Arma's hoping to win this and win the whole tournament, but Bob is hoping to just stay alive one more game and force that final match. Let's see what we're going to get out of these two in this match. The one game that Bob did win is the game that he took out the Arc Fortress with his hedgehogs and all those sabers. So that was kind of a little bit of a macro game. At least it was played out on Furious, and this is Lost Hope. You might have the opportunity to get into a similar style game.
Yeah, I think they didn't spend as much time having to scout each other out just because the scout found the arc ship so quickly. It's kind of a foregone conclusion. They know where the opponent is at. So what does that mean for the camp splits? It means that Arma is going to be able to take his speed camp just south of him very quickly and honestly make more use of it as the game progresses, but not going to have as easy access to the energy regen camp that's right out like just to the east of KR Bob's natural.
Right.
So if I like blur my eyes and look at the camp placement on the map here, it's very interesting. I think. Well, what are these dogs going for? Oh, did we already see yeah, we already saw was that no, that wasn't a power bank that went down, right? He's just deep into the red because he used Sovereign's Watch.
That's a good question. I didn't see the Sovereign's Watch go off. That doesn't mean it didn't. But we do see a Starforge opening, and he's staying in the red here. He's also on one base. No, two array.
I think he's detecting a lot of early aggression. I don't know if he scanned his own health camp or not, but once he sees that it's taken, that's going to be a sign. And he went for that early ascension matrix too. So I wonder if he didn't build a second
recall. So this is going to be a two array vector play, and we see the first vector out already. And I think we saw this before. Vectors were pretty good against the dog opening.
They are, and if they manage to scout this, oh, that's unfortunate. I think KR Bob was going to try to deny the resources that are going to come out of the speed camp. I don't know that he's going to be able to last hit. I think he did.
I think he got the last hit on that one because the vectors have been focusing on the dogs, it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And a couple dogs did go down, but yeah, as you said, he was able to get most of the resources from that camp. But the speed bonus is now going to Arma. And Arma actually has those lightning legs on them too right now. So that's the active speed bonus. Chasing down some dogs. Did he get that dog? Ooh, gets away.
Barely didn't, but it won't matter all that much. I think the dog play is basically done. There needs to be now that he sees it's Argent and Vector, he needs something to deal with the heavily armored Argents.
Yes. Like hedgehogs, and we do see a mech bay, and actually it's a Vulcan coming out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would like the Vulcan better if it was supported by a repair-o-matic, but we just don't see that here. We see Bobs that are just tanking damage. They are getting overcharged and
Ooh,
doing heal
the
hugs.
Vulcan
That'll
does
be
pop
nice.
out. But yeah,
Now
he's
is he
not
just
getting
gonna
great
stay there?
damage. And
Yeah.
there's the Bobs hugging the Vulcan. The Argents aren't going to be able to do anything about it. The Vectors are just trying to be annoying. Maybe pick off a Bob here or a dog here, but they're not going to be able to deal with that Vulcan.
Yeah. There's just no. I think that kind of forces them back into rethinking how they're going to continue this engagement, because the Vulcan definitely can't leave to go engage, not without some sort of like Bob escort or medtech escort, and ARMA can't come in and attack because the Bobs will just heal that Vulcan for free ad infinitum.
Exactly.
So yeah, they just kind of go back to creeping around the map. KR Bob, by the way, having done a great job of taking the southern 2 health camps.
Oh, yeah, I didn't quite notice that. So his dogs have been active out on the map, taking camps, and looks like recapturing camps here that ARMA has been taking. Those dogs just have to be wary of running into this Vector force.
Yeah.
Again, here they are taking another speed camp.
Yeah, they have to be more worried, I think, if the Vectors have the lightning legs, which they probably will get shortly.
Yes.
Oh, can the dogs get the last one? They do, and now they're gone.
Yeah, you're right. There they go. Getting out of there. Even with that Delta jump there. Ooh, managing to get one scout. And then Delta jumping back. That was good strategic play. Where he used the Delta jump was also going to allow him to return back and maybe get a flank on the dogs. And now the dogs are chased all the way into this dead end.
Yeah.
And with some good play here, they might be able to get some more dogs.
Nah, I think that's just it for the dogs. Yep.
Yep.
And was it worth all that micro to get 200 Luminite worth of units off the map? It's like, maybe. I think that was enough offense power. He could have gone and harassed the natural or something. But
very possible.
It does look like ARMA is like uncontested on the map right now. The entire map is his to take if he wants it.
That's what he earns, I think, from that. Is now that those dogs are off the map, he can freely take all these camps. We see a dog scouting here. But now he's just going to go out and take a bunch of resources, I think.
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised if ARMA just goes and takes every single camp right now. He certainly could. There's nothing fast enough on the map that's going to be able to prevent him from doing that. And we did see like the very first Hedgehog coming out right when ARMA left KR Bob's base, but we've got a couple more out, but again, not enough to contend, I don't think. The Hedgehogs are anti-heavy, and the Vectors are anti-light, so you definitely need greater numbers for that. I wonder what does the production for KR Bob look like? Is he still on 1 mech bay?
Looks like a single mech bay there. He's got another one on the low ground here, so he is at 2 mech bay, 1 racks.
Gotcha.
Which is going to allow him to, pump out more. Oh, so it was another Vulcan that just popped out here. I was looking to see what he was building, and it's Vulcans. He's staying on Vulcan tech, it looks like.
Yeah,
not more
which is
Hedgehogs.
very defensive in my eyes, which is fine because he is solidly on 2 base, and he hasn't gotten the he hasn't taken his corner base yet, so he could just sit on 3 and power up quite a bit until he gets to Gravens or Hornets or I don't know, something that basically forces ARMA out of Vectors, and I think that's the wise move. He knows that he can't get out on the map, so might as well build a little bit of defense, make sure that he can stay there, and yeah, I think ARMA's going to try and catch him off guard by trying to
push through the trees
blindside him.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll work though.
One interesting thing is ARMA has not retaken those 2 health camps that the dogs took earlier. So there is still triple health camp for Bob. Vector's trying to get some damage but get chased away by the Hedgehogs. Oh, this might be a 2-pronged play. All those defensive units got pulled away from the front, and now those Sabres are on top of the repair-o-matic. It goes down before the Bobs can get there and repair it. But they pull out while the Vectors get back into the Bob line, killing a lot of Bobs. That's a lot of Bobs going down there.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage being taken by KR Bob, and I don't think we see any. There's no response here from his army because it's tied up the front lines.
He's trying to
While
fight in the front line.
Yeah, the Vulcans are going to do their best to hold off the rest of that army, but these Vectors are just having a heyday taking care of Bobs that are trying to keep each other alive through the power of friendship. But yeah, these Hedgehogs just aren't going to be able to do enough, I don't think. We do see the Vectors using their recall, which makes them vulnerable while it's on cooldown, that they won't be able to Delta Jump again anytime soon, but I think it's just too much damage has been done. The supply here for ARMA is almost triple that of KR Bob, and I think he can just walk in, camp production, and do as much damage as he wants until KR Bob calls GG.
Yeah, I think, and there it is. There's the GG.
There's the GG.
And that's congratulations to ARMA. Shout out to ARMA. Respect ARMA. Winning Korea's strongest amateur tournament.